Hey seniors, what's up? Happy Wednesday. So I'm gonna give a quick brief overview of what we're doing today, and then that'll be it. So you'll have time to work after this. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. No need to delay. All right. So the rest of the first half or so, maybe even longer of this semester, we're gonna be talking about narrative. And I know I promised you that we would talk about like real world things like resumes and cover letters and college application essays and things like that. Well, we are. But the first thing, in order to do a college application essay, which is the first major summative that we have, or no, it's not the first. It's coming up soon, I guess I should say. But in order to write a college application essay, which is basically telling stories about yourself, we need to first understand how do we tell stories about, or how do we recognize the key elements in other stories. So when I look here, this is a document I made called The Essentials of Narrative, and this is on the modules, and you're going to need to be filling this out every day with the different stories we're going to be listening to. So here are the how many are there? 6 essentials of narrative. Now there's obviously more pieces to it, but why do we need 6 is plenty to handle. So we're just going to do 6. So first is to create a basic plot. So make something happen to someone. Every story should have a plot. Even why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side is a plot. In a way, it's very basic. It's not interesting, right? It's a very short. It took me 2 seconds to utter those words. So a plot is obviously going to be more interesting and more involved than that, but that is the first key component of narrative. Next is to hook and satisfy readers. So you should start and end the story with intention. It should be intriguing. It should be interesting, captivating. When you tell us, if you told a story that was just like, um, there was a man who liked baked beans and he had a barbecue and he liked to have baked beans on the side. That's not a very, that's not really going to captivate me, really. But when you start a story by saying, something like the water bubbled, or not the water. Let's do. Oh, okay. No, it'd be like as the smoke rose from the smokehouse. Um, James was very excited about the barbecue that was going to commence, and he made sure he prepared the baked beans perfectly for that event. And that is still not super interesting, but it's at least a slightly more creative opening that's going to hook my interest. And you're going to notice, because you're going to listen and read some stories here coming up, you're going to notice how they start their stories, and they start them in a very good way, a way that really hooks and grabs your attention. The next thing is a sequence of time and events. Connect action with transition. So you need to have a specific set. It needs to make sense. You can't just jump all over the place. You can't be talking about, oh, well, this one time I did this. Oh, and then before that I did that. Oh, and then after that I did this. That's really confusing. It needs to be a sequence of time and events. Connect action and transitions. Describe the action using sensory details. So sight, taste, smell, touch, anything like that. Or what you hear, audible. Then there's also uh, show close-up details of the main characters in the setting, so be very descriptive. And then setting the right mood. You want to reveal the characters and the setting and the tone in the right way. So that is the essentials of narrative. So you might be asking, what are we doing with this worksheet? You mentioned reading or listening to stories. So there's a podcast called Lore. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may not have. But Lore is a podcast where the host, I forget his name right now, but he tells stories about essentially urban legends. And if you don't know what an urban legend is, it's basically, they're usually a little eerie or a little tense or creepy a little bit of a story, and it's something that often is based on fiction usually, but there's also an element of truth to it as well. So it's kind of a mixture. And a lot of these are things that actually happened in real life, but all the details are what's up in the air. So for example, we might listen to one about this family that is murdered. Okay, that actually happened, but the details of how it happened may or may not be true, and that's kind of why it's a legend, an urban legend. All right, so I have to figure out which urban legend I want you to start with, but there will be one today when it's your class time up on the uh Canvas along with the essentials and narratives. You're going to listen to that and you're going to fill out the essentials and narrative. I think you're going to do half on each day. So today you'll listen to the first half of the podcast, and then you'll put the first half of the essentials and narrative. Basically, by the end of 2 days, you need to have it complete. All right. So look forward to it. I guarantee you they're really interesting stories. All right. So have a good day, guys.